Welcome back to Grasping the Gridiron. I'm your host, Zach Thummel, and today we will be introducing a new part to the show called the Seahawks Segment, where I'll be updating you on the latest news in Seattle and giving my opinion on that. And we'll be updating you with the latest news in NFL free agency and trades as well. All right, so for this first Seahawks segment, we will be talking about Cooper Kupp here. And so it's been reported by Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that Cooper Kupp has been talking with the Seahawks. And, I really think that this would be a great addition to Seattle. And I know Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp are considered very similar receivers, but I think Cooper Kupp could bring a level of mentoring that would be great for Jackson Smith-Njigba. And I also think that Cooper Kupp could be someone that could take a step back and be a number two guy in terms of ego as far as production goes. So I also think that it needs to be understood that this offense is going to be a lot more run heavy this next year. And, Mike McDonald is a defensive minded head coach, so he's going to lean on the run a lot more this year. And he's made that clear with the way that he's going about his business as of lately. And I just think that with the addition of Sam Darnold, a guy that's comfortable throwing the ball over the middle of the field, I really think that with the way that this run game is going to be, they're not going to have to do too much in the pass games. And so as far as trying to set everything up, like their play action is going to be pretty pristine in my prediction. So I really think that Cooper Kupp would give them that next level of, it would take them to the next level essentially. I think that when you look at the way that that team would be set up even without him, I think they'll have production in the passing game because of how dominant I think they'll be in the run game. But it'll be interesting to see how much Cooper Kupp wants and if that's in the range that Seattle's willing to pay. And that leads me into my next subject, which is the offensive line, because honestly, talking about Cooper Kupp and talking about Sam Darnold really does us no good and does Seattle no good without the offensive line being fixed. And honestly, the left tackle and right tackle, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas respectively, they just need more time and healthy time. The biggest criticism of Lucas right now is just the lack of health and the lack of ability to get on the field. But I think moving forward, the two of them, if they can stay healthy, will be solid options for them at the tackle spots and can be bookend guys. But as far as the interior O-line, my mind goes straight to Mekhi Becton. I think Mekhi Becton could come in and be a really, really good piece for Seattle on the interior. You really need an additional mauler on the interior, and I think he brings that presence. A former tackle, a guy that had a little bit of weight issues and just couldn't hang athleticism wise out on the edge with some of those modern day edge rushers, and you move him inside, give him more of a mauling role, and he had some success with the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think that this will be a really fun addition, and I think that would be someone that could be a really, really strong presence for Seattle as you make that transition to that run pass with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I think those two would love to have a guy like that paving the way for them. And that's all I've got for our first Seahawks segment here. So we'll move on now. Now we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers here. And so according to Cameron Wolfe, NFL reporter, the Steelers have made their pitch to free agent Aaron Rodgers, as Rodgers was just recently released by the Jets. I think that this is something that is really interesting because you have some media members that are sort of frustrated with Aaron Rodgers, that he's holding the media hostage, if you will, and his team's hostage by coming up with his decision and waiting on it. But I think the thing to realize is this is a guy late in his career and he's trying to make the decision that's best for him, right? Like he hasn't ruled out retirement yet. So the idea that he is not contemplating retirement right now is wild. And I think people are just assuming that this is an easy decision to make, and it's not. And I get it. It's the difference. The difference is he's playing a game for a living, so people immediately already are going to scrutinize the propping up of decision making, and I get it. But quite honestly, I think Aaron needs to be given his space, and this is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever had in the game, and I think he deserves the respect to have that time to make a decision. But on the contrary, I don't think it's right to hold teams or keep teams waiting for a while to because here we are, we're mid-March, right? And a lot of teams are wanting to know where they're at and get these free agents in here so they know what's left and they need to draft, and where their holes are and what they need to go young with, and where they need to go young, excuse me. But that's my only criticism of it, is if you're Rodgers and you are wanting to play, and I think that's the only reason why it's taking this long, is because he doesn't know if he wants to play or not where he wants to play. I think pretty sure it's Pittsburgh. And the thing is, if he does end up deciding to play, I think he's going to regret not being there quicker and doing the shaking hands whole charade thing, and getting just in the building and working with DK and George Pickens and the offensive line. And I just think that if he is serious about playing, he needs to get on it and go to a team, whether that's with Pittsburgh or not. But if he's serious about playing, he just needs to get on it, because teams will really want to start to get an idea of where they are at in the draft and what they need to pick. So, I think Russell Wilson has something to do with that too. If Russell Wilson was meeting with a variety of teams, he met with the Giants today, met with the Browns yesterday, and I think if the Steelers go back to Wilson, it's because Aaron Rodgers asked for too much money. And, but also the opposite could be Wilson's just not wanting to do this whole song and dance of waiting for the Steelers to gamble on him again. And maybe he goes with the Browns and goes with the Giants. And I think that could be something that's intriguing, because I think Russell Wilson's on the last part of his career for sure. He's got 2 or 3 years. He's not going to extend this thing out, quite honestly, in my opinion. But I think Aaron Rodgers I think he and Russell, it's kind of funny because they're at the end of their careers, so to speak, and they really are still controlling the media narrative and moving the needle as far as media coverage, ironically, as they're both older now. And the next bit of news we've got here is some more reporting from ESPN, and this is according to Adam Schefter here, and he says that Jamar Chase's extension with the Bengals could be worth up to or in the $40 million range, and that would make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Quite honestly, that would be amazing, and Jamar Chase is deserving of every penny of that contract. And he, being a guy that is so dynamic, I mean, you see it with Joe Burrow, just he can help elevate Joe Burrow's game to a whole new level, and the two of them have just been playing incredible ball together, and you just see, even with a depleted offensive line, how well they play together and can just move the ball down the field. I think if you give that team, if you patch some holes on the offensive line, which will be harder considering you're going to pay him in this range, and you're already paying Burrow a ton, it's going to be hard to just play plug and play with the offensive line, especially as Joe Burrow ages. I mean, it's going to be more difficult to continue to surround them with guys, and you potentially can lose Trey Hendrickson too. And it's what does the defensive side of the ball look like for them? So, yeah, I'm just interested to see how the Bengals as a small market team are going to manage that and kind of work some salary cap gymnastics there. Thank you for tuning in to Grasping the Gridiron. Please leave in the comments section any suggestions you have for future episodes. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, and please share on Spotify.